Welcome back to science class. In our previous class we have discussed about human body and its movement. In that part we discussed about different types of joints, bones and cartilage, then function of muscles. Okay. About previous class, just we can recall about the types of joints. Some joint shows a little movement, whereas some joints are fixed. So the moving joints are ball and socket joint, pivotal joint, hinge joint and gliding joint. About the location we discussed in our previous class. Then we discussed about some fixed joints. The bones that cannot move at these joints are called as fixed joint. For example, our skeleton. In the skeleton, we discussed about the rib cage, which is made up of 12 pairs of rib and protects our internal organs like lungs, heart and liver. Then backbone is the another example of fixed joint. Shoulder bone, pelvic bone, skull protects our brain is also a fixed joint. Then we discussed about the cartilage, which is known as the connective tissue, helps to connect two different bones in a particular joint. Then about the contraction and relaxation of muscles, which helps the bones to show the movement, to function, to perform the activities. Muscles play an important role. This is all about the part 1. In our part 2 class, we are going to discuss about gait of animals. Welcome back to the class. Firstly, we are going to discuss about the movement in different animals. Earthworm. Let us see how earthworm moves. The body of an earthworm is made up of many rings joined end to end. You can see here, and it is made up of so many rings which is joined end to one ring is connected with the another ring. Earthworm does not have bones. It don't have any bones. That's why it is very soft. There is no skeleton in the earthworm. You can see the muscles can push to each other. It has muscles which help to extend and shorten the body. During movement, the earthworm first extends the front part of the body, keeping the rear portion fixed to the ground. While moving, it extends only the front part. You can see in the image clearly. Whereas the last part, that is last portion is rear point, it keeps the in a fixed position. Once the front part moves, all the muscle pushes to the front part, then slowly it pulls its rear portion. Then it fixes the front end and releases the rear end. It then shortens the body and pulls the rear end forward. This makes it move forward by a small distance, repeating such muscle expansion and contraction. Expansion means the extending, you can see now it is expanding. The muscles expands, whereas now you can see the contraction. Here it becomes shortened, while expanding it becomes larger. The earthworm can move through soil. Its body secretes a slimy substance to help the movement. This is about the movement in earthworm, which don't have any bones or framework like skeleton. It is made up of muscle. The contraction and relaxation of the muscle move. How does it fix parts of its body to the ground? Under its body, it has a large number of tiny bristles, hair-like structure. It has a small hair-like structure. You can see if you observe very clearly. It is under the body. That hair-like structure is called as bristle. Projecting out. The bristles are connected with muscles. The bristles help to get a good grip on the ground. It has so many bristles which help to hold a grip on the ground while moving. The earthworm actually eats its way through the soil. Its body then throws away the undigested part of the material that it eats. This activity of an earthworm makes the soil more useful for plants. The undigested food which is thrown out by the earthworm is most useful for the plants. That's why earthworm is called as farmer's friend. Like this earthworm moves. You can see in the image it is made up of small rings which are connected to each other and filled with a lot of muscles. For the grip it has so many hair-like projections called as bristles. So the muscles present in the earthworm help it to move from place to place. About the movement in snail. So funny animal, right? Snail is also called as Shank the Hulu. Observe the snail in your garden or in field. Have you seen the rounded structure it carries on its back? Can you see this rounded structure? This is the shell. This is called the shell and it is the outer skeleton of the snail, but it is not made up of bones. The shell is a single unit and does not help in moving from place to place. It has to be dragged along. See here, we all of us have internal skeleton, whereas snail has the external skeleton. It is very hard, made up of calcium, but it is not made up of bones. It doesn't show any movement, so snail has to carry it on its body while moving. It has to drag it because it doesn't show any movement. There are no bones, no joints present in the outer skeleton of the snail. A thick structure and the head of the snail may come out of an opening in the shell. The thick structure is its foot, made up of strong muscle. This thick structure is made up of a muscle which shows movement. It helps to move from place to place. You can see it is having an external skeleton. Only it has to protect. It is like a house for the snail. You can see the upper eyes on the head. It has to drag its skeleton. Whenever it needs protection, it can go inside the shell and take shelter from the shell. Next, we are going to discuss about the movement in cockroach. All of you are familiar with this animal. Actually, it is an insect because it has wings and legs both. Let us see how cockroaches move. All of you have seen a cockroach running away from place to place when you on the light in your kitchen. You can see so many different types of cockroaches in the sink, right? Sometimes it can fly for certain height too. Let us discuss about the movement in cockroaches. Cockroaches walk and climb as well as fly in the air. They can walk, climb and it can fly. They have three pairs of legs. This side 3 and that side 3. These help in walking. The body is covered with a hard outer skeleton. Its body is covered with a hard skeleton. This outer skeleton is made of number of plates joined together and that permits movement. It has different number of plates, layer-like structures on the skeleton which helps the cockroach to move. There are 2 pairs of wings attached to the body behind the head. This is the head. You can see 2 eyes and this hair-like structure are called as sense organs which can sense the things And here you can see two different wings behind the head. The cockroaches have distinct muscles. Those near to the legs move the legs for walking. The body muscles move the wings when the cockroaches fly. The muzzle helps while the cockroach wants to fly with the help of its wing. Where you can see the movement in human body while the bones want to move means the muscle should contract and relax. Same role is done by the muscle in the cockroach when. Let us discuss about the most beautiful creature, that is bird. Birds are the something different and very lovable animal on this earth. They can fly in the air and walk on the ground. They lay eggs. Some birds are very beautiful in their color. Birds fly in the air and walk on the ground. Some birds like ducks and swans also swim in water. The birds can fly because their bodies are well suited for flying. Their body bones are hollow and light. They have hollow bones and very light body. That's why they can fly. Whereas the birds which are very heavy means which have more weight cannot fly in the air, like penguin, peacock. The bones of the hind limbs are typical for walking and perching. The bony part of the forelimbs are modified as wings. The shoulder bones are strong. As we have fixed shoulder bones, they too have a shoulder bones. For the shoulder bones, these wings are connected. Shoulder bones are very strong. That's why it can hold the weight of the birds while flying. The breast bones are modified to hold the muscle of flight, which are used to move the wings up and down. Wings are moving up and down in the birds because the breast bones are modified for the functioning of the wings. Like these birds move from place to place. They depend on their wings as well as on their move. This sudden jerk, so many continuous jerks make the fish to swim in water. Have other fins on their body which mainly help to keep the balance of the body and to keep direction while swimming. It also has, you can see here, the hair like structures which are lighter and helps to swim in water. They have other fins. These are the different fins which help the fish to swim easily in the water. This is about the movement of fish in water. They move in water by swimming. Some reptiles move. How do snakes move? Have you seen a snake's slither? Does it move straight? No, it doesn't move straight. You can see in the image. Snakes have a long backbone. They have many thin muscles. See, a snake has a backbone, and also thin muscles too. They are connected to each other even though they are far from one another. Muscles are far away from one another, but they are connected with, bones are very far, but they are connected with thin muscles. Muscles also interconnected the backbone, rib and skin. Muscles are also interconnected the backbone. They have also backbone, rib and skin. All these are interconnected with the muscles. The snake's body curve into many loops. You can see into many different so many loops you can see while moving it creates. Each loop of the snake gives it a forward push by pressing against the ground. It make a loop and pushes the ground so that it can move forward. Since its long body make many loops and each loop gives its push, the snake moves forward very fast and not in a straight line. If it moves in a straight line, it cannot move because it need to make a loop and it has to put a pressure on the ground. Then only this is about the movement in snake. These are the gait animals. Let us summarize the important points of this topic. Bones and cartilage form the skeleton of the human body. It gives the frame and shape to the body and helps in movement. It protects the inner organ. The human skeleton comprises the skull, the backbone, ribs, and the breastbone, shoulder, and hip bone, and the bones of the hand and legs. These all things are present in our human skeleton: skull, backbone, ribs, breastbone, shoulder, hip bone, bones of the hands and legs. All these are interconnected to form a frame, that is skeleton. The bones are moved by alternate contractions and relaxations of two sets of muscles. By contracting and relaxing the muscle, bones can move. Bone joints are of various kinds depending on the nature of joints and direction of movement they allow. Strong muscles and light bones work together to help the birds fly. Strong muscles and light bones. Muscles are strong because it has to hold the wings and body weight of the bird, whereas bones are very light because air has to pass through the bone. They have hollow bone. They fly by flipping their wings. Fish swim by forming loops alternately on two sides of the body. They form a loop with the help of their fins. Snakes slither on the ground by looping sideways. It makes a loop on the ground to put a pressure. A large number of bones and associated muscles push the body forward. The body and the leg of cockroaches have hard covering forming an outer skeleton. Cockroach has outer skeleton. The muscle of the breast connected with the 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings help the cockroach to walk and fly. Earthworms move by alternate extension and contraction of the body using muscles. Tiny bristles on the underside of the body help in gripping the ground. In earthworms, bristles play an important role to hold a grip on the ground. Snails move with the help of muscular foot. They have muscular. Hope you understood the movement in different gait animals like earthworm, snail, cockroach, birds, fish and snake. They use their different body parts to move, to fly, jump, slither in their own ways. This is all about the movement in gait animals. Hope you understood the lesson. Thank you, students. Bye bye.